Afternoon. Today we're going to do a class about challah making and the importance of bringing challah into our home. I have a detailed class that I go through every ingredient and I talk about the purpose and the reason and give a chance to everyone to make their own dough. Basically, these are the ingredients that we need to use: sugar, yeast, warm water, flour, oil, and salt. And as you can see, the challah is made out of different ingredients to be able to make one dough. And we need a clean bowl to be able to put all of our ingredients in there to be able to make our delicious dough for Shabbat, or the beautiful water bread for Shabbat. So the first step is that you need to put in your sugar. You put in 1/4 of a cup sugar with 1 tablespoon of yeast. And after you put your sugar and yeast, you're going to need 1 cup of warm water. The recipe that I'm making is 1/4 of the actual amount which you're going to need to be able to make a blessing of Hafrashat Challah. The amount that I make does not permit us to make the Hafrashat Challah, but we still do the mitzvah of making the bread for Shabbat. So you mix your 1.5 cup of warm water with your yeast and sugar, and you mix it. And after you mix it, you let it sit for about 3 to 5 minutes to let the yeast do what it needs to do. This is basically a simple recipe for water bread, and it's very delicious and easy to make. So I'm going to let this sit for 5 minutes, and then we will come back to continue the rest. After you let it sit for a few minutes, you add your 3 cups of flour. And as I told you, this isn't enough to be able to say the blessing, but you still do the mitzvah of making bread for Shabbat. You mix your 3 cups of flour, and then you put your 1 teaspoon, sorry, 1 second. I'm getting my teaspoon ready. You put your 1 teaspoon of flour, and then you start mixing it in. After the teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of salt, you're going to mix in your oil. And the oil is what's going to make it mix in and connect very well together. And you need 1/4 of a cup oil. And we use this kind of oil, which my friend Natalie recommended, and it's a very good tasting oil if you like coconut flavor. Then you mix this in and you blend it in to get the doughy until it becomes a dough. And you got to use your hand to mix it in well to get the dough texture. As you can see, you got to get your hand in there. You're going to get the dough all over, but that's okay because that's how you're going to make it into a dough. The dough is very sticky, which is okay. And if you see that it's very, very sticky and not getting off your hand, you got to add more flour to it. And then you just keep kneading it until you get a very good texture of dough that's not too sticky and not too dry. If you notice it being very, very dry, then you can add a little bit of water. And after your dough is made, you let it sit for 20 minutes, and then you can shape it, turn on the oven, and let it sit for another 10 minutes, and then you're ready to make your bread for Shabbat. As simple as that. Shabbat Shalom.